Hi, I'm Neena Sabnani, professor at the Industrial Design Center, IIT Bombay. I work primarily in the discipline of animation and communication design. I teach, I research, make animated films and books. Welcome to our course Understanding Design. We shall be talking about this discipline called design through illustrated lectures and projects that you will do on your own. The way this course is designed, you will have an opportunity to learn from a range of academics and experts.
Yeah, and the Dabbawalas are a great example where sustainability can be applied. What they do is they give all the office goers who've subscribed to the scheme pink stickers. Whenever food is left over, they place a pink sticker on the dabba, and the Dabbawala gives that leftover food to the needy.
So we have a large opening and you can easily pick up all the letters and put it in his bag at one go.
People don't realize what a fantastic chair this is. So it consists of one S-bent metal pipe, which is a single continuous piece, and that provides comfort while sitting, but also it gives you springiness while you sit.
In our film Hum Chitra Banate Hain, we work together with Sher Singh, a Bhil artist from Madhya Pradesh.
किसी को सबक सिखाना हो तो भूरी अम्मा कहती है कि मुर्गा बनो.
Sher Singh and other artists from the Bhil community were quite shy to begin with. But as we began to appreciate each other's expertise, they shared many stories from their folklore, which enriched the film in so many ways.
पानी के लिए झगड़ रहे थे सारे कुछ तो चल के आए थे 50-50 में.
Collaboration really means that as a group we are creating something better, something greater than it would be possible for us to create as individuals on our own.
Technology has also facilitated the speed and scale at which these products are produced. There are many issues: pollution, depletion of resources, power consumption, and products becoming obsolete.
So the designer who designs for society must also think carefully about long-term consequences.
That's right. But sometimes even accidents can produce creative designs.
Cane is a plant that grows a lot in Northeast. However, if you make cane furniture in Northeast and transport to other cities, the cost really goes up due to transportation. Our innovation was to make it more stackable, like this. So, like this, they can put 100 chairs in a container, whereas earlier they could only put 20 chairs.
Which means they'll be learning by listening and learning by doing. As a part of the course, you will also undertake regular assignments. And those of you working towards a credit, you'll also do a final project with a mentor assigned to you. You will have access to a variety of curated content, which will be available as resources in different forms, like links to articles, podcasts, and videos. These resources will be available on the course platform, and you will in fact need to refer to them time and again for a deeper understanding of all that we are going to be talking about. You may ask, who is this course for? What is it about? Well, this course is really meant for anyone who's curious to understand what design is and why is it important. You may be a person interested in studying design formally, and this course will give you a basic introduction. Some of you may need to collaborate with designers in your work or hire them in the future for professional or even personal reasons. More on that later. By the end of the course, you should have developed critical skills needed to be able to tell good design from bad. You will appreciate how design shapes and influences our environment and society. You will also have learned something about the various domains and disciplines of design. Our aim is to make you familiar with the main concepts and vocabulary needed to pursue your interest in design. Why is this important? Because there are so many notions about what design is, and trust me, there's a lot of confusion too. Let's listen to our storyteller friend Ankit Chadda, who in his unique andaz will present us the many notions of design.
बेटा बाप से कह रहा है चेक पर साइन कर दो, जनता मंत्री से कह रही है रिजाइन कर दो, पर यहां तो कोई भी किसी से भी कह रहा है डिजाइन कर दो। क्यों? क्योंकि दरअसल किसी को मालूम ही नहीं है कि ये डिजाइन किस चिड़िया का नाम है। मेहंदी डिजाइन कर दो, रंगोली डिजाइन कर दो, घाघरा डिजाइन कर दो, चोली डिजाइन कर दो, पर डिजाइन कोई दिखावा नहीं है। डिजाइन तो एक जादुई दुनिया है, एक तिलिस्म की तरह है। जब होता है तो अक्सर दिखता नहीं है, और जब दिखाया जाता है तो अक्सर होता नहीं है। और इस तिलिस्म डिजाइन के दो हिस्से हैं। पहला हिस्सा है यूजर, जिसे तो बस ये पता है कि उसे क्या चाहिए, पर उसे चाहिए क्या। और दूसरा हिस्सा है डिजाइनर, जोड़ीदार है जिसका इंजीनियर, मशीन है जिसकी दिलनशीन, और ये दोनों साथ में मिलकर कोड से लेकर रोड तक, ऐप से लेकर मैप्स तक सब बनाते हैं। मसलन एक राजा थे जिनकी रियासत नदी किनारे थी। अब एक बार हुआ क्या कि उनके वजीर ने उन्हें कहा कि हुजूर, अगर आप सालाना नदी में नहाने जाएं तो इस मौके पर प्रजा को मनाने के लिए एक और त्योहार मिल जाएगा। अरे राज में खुशी का माहौल बनेगा। राजा को वजीर की सलाह बहुत पसंद आई। अगले दिन दोनों किनारों पर हुजूम लग गया, जश्न मनाया जाने लगा। राजा जी आए, नदी में नहाए, हर तरफ से राजा की जय जयकार होने लगी। लेकिन राजा नदी से बाहर आए ही थे कि उन्होंने अपने पैर गंदे पाए। अब राजा नादान थे, सोचने लगे लगता है नहाते वक्त पैर धोना भूल गया। लौट कर नदी में गए, घिस घिस कर पैरों को साफ किया, फिर बाहर कदम रखा, फिर से पैरों पर धूल जमा हो गई। कई बार अंदर बाहर करने के बाद राजा के बात में यह समझ में आई कि भाई ये तो जमीन पर जो धूल है, गंदगी की वजह वो है। फौरन अपने मंत्री को तलब किया, कहा कि इसको समाधान निकालो। मंत्री के कहने पर सारी प्रजा ने झाड़ू लगाना शुरू कर दिया। राजा साहब आए, जमीन पर कदम रखा ही था, फिर से पैर मैले हो गए। दूसरे मंत्री को जिम्मेदारी दी गई। उसने जांच करके मालूम किया कि दरअसल मसला यह है कि आसपास की धूल उड़कर आ रही है और वो राजा जी के पैरों को गंदा कर रही है। राजा साहब के रास्ते के दोनों तरफ शामियाने लगवा दिए गए, पर साहब गंदगी थी कि राजा साहब के पैरों को छोड़ने का नाम ही नहीं ले रही थी। आखिरकार वजीर ने यह हल सुझाया कि पूरे गांव की जमीन को चमड़े से ढक दिया जाए। तभी गांव की एक बुजुर्ग औरत ने आकर कहा कि अगर सारी धरती को चमड़े से ढक दोगे तो पेड़ पौधे, अनाज कहां उगेगा, इंसान जानवर क्या खाएगा। और फिर वो राजा जी से बोली, हुजूर आप इधर आइए। राजा जी उसके पास गए और उस औरत ने जमीन पर पड़ा चमड़े का एक टुकड़ा उठाया, राजा के पैर का नाप लेकर उसे सिला और राजा जी को पहना दिया। इस तरह हाजरीन जूतों का पहला जोड़ा वजूद में आया। तो अब आप ही सोचिए कि यूजर कौन, डिजाइनर कौन। उस छोटे से जूते से लेकर हमारी जिंदगी का हर पहलू डिजाइन किया हुआ है। और जैसा कि मंटो साहब कह गए हैं, दुनिया को समझाना नहीं चाहिए, उसे समझना चाहिए।
क्या बात है। दुनिया को समझाना नहीं चाहिए, उसे समझना चाहिए। Or before we explain things to people, we should try to understand them ourselves. So let's return to understanding design. Design को समझते हैं। Design is both a process and the end product of that process. Like say I designed an animated film about my father's experience of partition when he was a child.
Suddenly, a military van pulled up on Campbell Street and a soldier ordered them to stop playing and go home at once. Riaz said it was best to keep out of trouble and to move off. On the street, nothing looked the same. and Mukund could not recognize anyone. It was Riaz knocking at the door, and he had brought kurtas and jinnah caps to help them disguise themselves. Mukund refused to remove his cap. Riaz drove them to the Karachi harbour. Their gratitude had no words. They did not know what to say. Mukund looked at Riaz, and then he remembered. Mukund and Riaz never met again. But to this day, Mukund remembers him waving at him from the shore that was once home.
I chose to design it because this was a story that had to be told. There wasn't anything substantial for children about partition so far. The visual design of the film was also used for a book based on the same story. So you can see that the word design is both a process which I followed and an end product, which is the book. Let's talk a little bit more about what design is before we go on to look at its role, its impact, and whom it impacts. So what is design? A designer might tell you that it is much easier to practice design than to define it. Let's look at some of the definitions that do exist.
Design is not just what it looks like and what it feels like, but how it works.
Design is a creative process which integrates the physical qualities of a product with aesthetic considerations.
Design is a catalyst for social change.
Design is about improving the quality of life.
Design is more than surface treatment, and it goes well beyond mere prettification. It is certainly not that some making things look nice, but a process that is present from the very inception of the project. As an activity, design is as old as humanity itself. But as a profession, it is much more recent. To learn about its evolution, let's look at the timeline of design.
Thank you for inviting me over, Nina. I am an historian of design and I teach at the School of Design in Ambedkar University, Delhi. The history of design is a bit like the story of the king we just heard, who found his feet getting dirty and the old woman who made leather slippers for him. History tells us how and in what circumstances objects come into existence and how they change and why. Let us see how this happens with one familiar object, say the orange squeezer. Perhaps the earliest example would have been this wooden device, which was handmade. With the introduction of new materials and technology, we have this version in steel. Here, the design takes care of straining the seeds and collecting the juice. When more juice is needed and the number of oranges many, then this device reduces the effort. Making it easier and more efficient, the electric squeezer eliminates human labor altogether. And a device like this one has been designed for industrial production of large quantities of juice. Designers can also be playful. For example, here is this clown juicer for children to learn to make juice by themselves. And design can also be provocative. Here we have a juicer by the French designer Philippe Starck, who says his juicer is for starting conversations and not for making juice at all. Sometimes the juicer is done away with altogether because people have no time and want ready-made juice. Or maybe technology steps in and dehydrates the juice into a powder for more convenience and longer shelf life. Some designers then use their skills to package such juice. Others may be hired to advertise them and to promote them as health foods for happy families following a modern lifestyle.
So this is how the everyday orange squeezer has changed with new materials and technologies, and designers from many specializations play a role in creating this product and the lifestyle surrounding it. All of us become familiar with these products, we buy them, use them, and in the process build cultures around design. In this way, design shapes culture and is also shaped by it. So far, we've been speaking about history as an account of how things change. However, an interesting aspect of design in our subcontinent is that it is not always about how things change, but also about how they remain the same, sometimes for thousands of years. Look at this boat on the Indus River today. Archaeologists have found a seal from around 4,500 years ago depicting a boat very much like this one on the very same river. The motifs on this pot, being painted by a woman in Kutch, resemble pot shards from the Indus Valley excavations. This dosa grinder, which almost every household in South India had till recently, corresponds to what archaeologists have found in house sites in Harappan settlements. Clearly, there are deep continuities. When we look at such objects, we can think of history as a dialogue between the past and the present. And remember that woman who designed the slippers for the king? She was creating the future as well. So the act of designing in the present is both about having a dialogue with the past, even as we initiate a dialogue with the future.
If you just take a look around you, you will see how almost everything we use and experience in our environment is designed. We live, most of us, in surroundings that are almost entirely human-made. Design involves creating products, systems, and services. From my spectacles to your smartphone or computer on which you're watching me, from the room in which you sit to the mug of tea or glass of water by your side, it has all been conceived and carried out through a process of design. You may ask, is this design or is it technology? Well, design is multidisciplinary. It engages with all disciplines. So when it comes in contact with technology, it strives to make that technology accessible to people. Its engagement with art leads to aesthetically designed products and clear communication. Its partnership with ergonomics leads to user-friendly products. Ergonomics, that is a word that may not be familiar to everyone out there. What does it mean? Well, a useful definition is that it is the science of designing products to optimize them for varied human dimensions. Ergonomics is sometimes called human factors engineering. We'll be discussing this in detail a little later in the module. Let me demonstrate. Take the problem of the jam pickle bottle. See what I do? How easily that got done. The designer of this tool really understood the human hand. So if practically everything around us is design, can every designer design everything?
Of course not. Most designers have their own domain expertise, as we showed in the tree of design. Each discipline has developed its own skill set, tools and design process, not to mention super specializations within disciplines.
Meet my colleague Professor B.K. Chakravarti, a product designer on our faculty here at IDC. He'll be joining us for some of the modules. Welcome, Professor Chakravarti.
Thanks, Nina. And cheers to all the design enthusiasts out there. Design mediates across several disciplines. Design creates access, design enables, and design facilitates. It does this through a process of identifying needs and solving problems to enhance everyday living. At its core, design is concerned with the user, and so we say that design is human-centered.
Let's explain what we mean by design being human-centered. Take this office chair. Professor Chakravarti will explain what makes this piece of furniture a designed object and what went into creating it.
Who doesn't love a good chair? But what does a good chair mean to you, Nina?
A chair that is kind to one's back?
Yes, comfort is of major importance. The user doesn't want to end up with aches and pains, so the core requirement is being able to sit for long hours without discomfort. The office chair is a pretty good example of user-centered design. Let us trace the design steps that must have gone into creating this office chair right here. First of all, the designer would have determined the overall dimensions for adults who will be using this chair. The anthropometric data, in other words, is the data of the human body so as to benefit the maximum number of people. Because here the challenge is that the chair is going to be mass produced and people with different dimensions should be comfortable using it. How can it then be useful to different human beings, some short, some tall, some hefty and some slender? The answer lies in the concept of adaptability. At the outset, the designer of the chair would have calculated the various adjustments needed to fit all sizes. The seat height is easily adjusted by this pneumatic adjustment lever on my right. This allows the user to have their feet flat on the floor. I will do this, just for you to show how this works. My foot is on the floor and my hands are horizontal to the desk. Now my thighs are horizontal and this is a very comfortable position for working for long hours. The next important parameter is the back support.
Please adjust my chair.
Would you turn, Nina? This chair has a wonderful lumbar support adjustment. The knobs over here allows the back to take the curvature of the lumbar and this way you will be able to get the right contour at the back.
Wow, it's quite restful.
The seat cushion is also a very important feature. Care has to be taken so that it is not too soft and at the same time it has to be firm so that you can actually move and your posture will then be better. It should not be hard either because if it is hard it can hurt. Did you see this chair has this wonderful netting at the back? This netting lets you have air circulation and it also molds to the contour of the upper back. Now let us sit down and examine the accessories which give us the additional comfort. The armrests which reduce the strain in the arms, the swivel, the wheels which lets us move the chair forward and backward.
Why do these office chairs have so many legs and all these wheels?
All chairs have at least 5 prongs in the bottom because this makes the chair very stable. Especially when you reach out for something, you could easily fall down. And the wheels are very important because when you're working, your posture is very good to come close to the chair. And when you need to get up, you need to move backward and get up slowly like this.
Thanks, that was most enlightening. I'm happy to be sitting on such a well-designed chair. Now tell us, what makes for good design as against bad design?
Something that does not serve the purpose it was intended for is surely bad design. Have a look at this elevator switch. How would a user know which button to press to go up? Look at this helmet. It gives protection, of course, but it is so uncomfortable to wear in the summer. It also cuts the angle of vision, which is very important for driving. And it cuts the surrounding sound, which is very critical for turning left and right, and making it very, very risky.
So how do designers ensure that they avoid these pitfalls? One way is by understanding their end users as well as they can. Designers have developed methods and processes to learn about the needs of users in their given context. That brings us to the topic of our next module. We will be introducing you to the concerns of users and their context. And here's something I want you to remember. A little design goes a long way.